Back, everybody, to Love and Action TV and podcast. It's Deconstruction Junction. We have come back into the hot seat to gather and deconstruct many ideas. I'm joined, as always, by the lovely Tara Olo Studio. Of course, I'm Dr. Flo, not telling you what I heard, but what I know. What I know is that you're loved and lovable. You've always been loved and lovable, and you're going to be loved and lovable for the rest of your life. And I help encourage, equip, and empower bold dreamers to follow their bliss by putting their time, talent, and treasure into good efforts in the world daily. Your dreams are possible because you're dreaming them. And all it takes is a little bit of discipline and strength, courage, and wisdom, and you'll be on your way. And we gather multiple times every day. Sometimes it's around a Scrabble table. Sometimes we're sinking each other's battleships. Many different ways that we have fun with this young lady here.
I can't wait to play Battleship again. That's why I was like, we are doing VR1 for the remainder of the weekend during these football games. And I swear to God, if these other teams do not score earlier in the game, gonna lose it. Anyway, I'm sharing currently with my friends in WhatsApp and on Threads that we are live. And so if you are out there, please feel free to do the same. Share with your friends. Share us with 5 people. This is an important conversation. All the conversations we have are important, but mostly because it surrounds. We talk about healing a lot in this network, and healing collectively and being in community with each other. And you'll see in these, if you go back, you'll see that sometimes we disagree, and that's okay. Like, we have a discussion about our disagreement, and that's okay. I should introduce myself because that's what I was asked to do.
Sometimes we don't even see eye to eye about the same thing that we're looking at, but there's still love in the midst.
Right. I'm Tara Priolo. I'm your resident Black, biracial, multi-passionate musician. I talk about the ish that nobody wants to talk about and push you to do the same. And we would also love to see you all in the hot seat with us. Dr. Flo created a Deconstruction Junction tab in the WhatsApp community. And if you are interested or you have topics that you want to bring or you want us to talk about because you don't want to come on screen, whatever that is, maybe also leave a voicemail for us at the website. And we could talk about that. But we would also love to have some more co-hosts on here. We have room for, I think, 4 other people, something like that. And so you can feel free to chat us up at the website lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.linky poops. Don't put poops in the
Linky poops. Tara's leading this week with the group chat heard around the world. Now, there are 13-year-olds that are maintaining very secure group chats. Their parents can't even see what's going on in these 13-year-olds group chats. What happened last week, Tara?
What happened was, now, okay, I'm gonna discuss my conspiracy theory. I don't even think I brought any like screenshots of shit about this because you all have heard about this. Okay, so basically, some dude in the government. Oh, I did bring this video. This video is funny to me. This dude, his name is Mark, I think, Mark Waltz or something like that. He created a group chat on Signal, and he added a reporter from The Atlantic, like an idiot, not at The Atlantic, from Bloomberg. And a bunch of these top U.S. officials were straight up discussing war plans in this chat. J.D. Vance was there. Tulsi Gabbard was there. Some other people were there. Like, lots of important people were there. And the reporter leaked it and wrote an article on it. And then the people in the chat were like, no, it wasn't actually war plans. And so then they posted the screenshots. And they were like, but it wasn't actual war plans. It was just attack plans. And we don't actually do that. And then the Congress asked Tulsi what country she was in when they were having that discussion. And Tulsi said, I would have to look at the schedule. So that's what had happened. What happened was Signal.
Do you know where she was? Someone knows where she was. Was she in Russia?
She was in Asia. somewhere. She was on an Asian Pacific tour. And she was like, I don't recall who was in the chat. Okay, girl, but you checked in. You like, they were like, list off your names, and then they all did it. Anywho.
Whenever I get called into a group chat or get placed in a group chat, I'm immediately looking to see who else is in the space. If there's someone in the space that's not identifiable to me, that's always a cause to either not communicate in the space or to ask, who is this number in the space? They wanted that reporter there.
Yeah, I saw this thread that said they needed a little more DEI in the space because Black people always ask who's coming and who's in the chat.
Every time.
And I tell you what you just said, like, to me, this was purposeful that the reporter was in the chat. Like, you cannot convince me otherwise. The dude knows who the reporter is. The dude knows, like, they knew what they were doing. It's something to give us the news, something to talk about, so that they can go do some other crazy shit behind closed doors.
You know? What no one is talking about is that they were planning to bomb a community.
Well, and they did bomb the community.
Yemen. This is all, and they were talking about bombing communities to open transportation routes. Those Yemen, it is my loose understanding that a lot of boat traffic and commerce goes through that region of the world. And there's a vested interest in keeping it open and accessible to us as capitalists.
Yeah, the Suez Canal, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it is the casual nature, though, that they talk about war with and harming people. That's a bit too crazy for me. And the fact that this particular emoji trio, the punch of the fist, the American flag, and the fire, is something that they want to use as a terroristic, I'm not sure if that's a real word or not, but a way in which to incite fear in people who are outside of us. I'm not sure even if we have a slide today about Greenland and what's happening there. But we'll get into a bit of the imperialism that is America and the ways in which, if we decide that we want to say a group of people don't have humanity, that can become the common narrative. If we say that an island like Greenland is unsafe and we need to protect it, that becomes the narrative mill that spins. It's kind of dangerous, the things that you all allow to be said and done without any kind of consequence. Where are the adults?
Where are the adults?
Rather than giving like a really big, long speech, I feel like I could just use this, and this will tell.
Select two objects that are the same shape.
Oh, TikTok.
Oh my God. Is that the same shape? Did I win? Am I human today?
No.
Rather than giving like a really big, long speech, I feel like I could just use this, and this will tell you that I think it's good, right? So like that's a fist, American flag, fire. So I'll just, from now on, when we do things where like we agree, I'll just hold this up rather than giving like a really big long speech. So job well done, guys.
Would the gentleman yield?
Oh, sure, I'll yield.
But I'm not sure everybody recognizes the reference there. Would you explain where that comes from?
Yeah, so this is how when we're in like a chat with friends, right, where we're like having a casual chat about like where we're dropping missiles.
Are you talking about a public chat room?
Yeah, but like, and with friends, and we're just like, you know, hamming about who we're gonna bomb and all of that. But we agree, we fist American flag fire. So I'm holding this up. I think we could just keep the committee shorter if like when we agree, we just hold this up.
No, I think you're supposed to have the flexed arm instead of the fist.
No, it was just it was just the fist. What signal chat are you in?
But
I was on Twitter.
If the gentleman would yield for an additional question,
Sure.
but what happens if there are reporters who might be there for that?
Well, hopefully they support America and that it's fire. Rather than giving like a really big, long speech, I feel like I could just use this.
There are certain things that privileged assholes have the privilege of joking about. Like, I don't know who Markowitz is. I don't know his affiliation, and that Rankin guy is definitely a Democrat. But they're all sitting in Congress and just joking about, the big thing that was a problem. From the biggest concern was that if it wasn't an American reporter and it was a foreign entity, that they could have alerted the Yemeni military of what was going to happen, and then more American soldiers would be harmed. While they're joking about emojis on the committee floor, and I used to be a page in the Virginian Senate, so I know this whole environment. They're in a very small room that's shot from all of these angles to make it look bigger than it is, while they are supposed to be in committee talking about the things that are real. What's real is that their actions placed American soldiers, their lives were in jeopardy and in danger. And the phrase loose lips sink ships is real. And we're not talking about Tara and I's battleship game over on the Discord server. There also were 4 American soldiers that were killed this week abroad that nobody was talking about. So these white men in power who hold up signs and have the privilege of being able to joke about war strategy being leaked. I wouldn't want to be a soldier right now out on the front lines knowing that the people at the top may not give a damn about you, and they're like, may we be victorious in war? Well, you're not going to be if the so-called enemy gets tipped off to your actions.
Yeah, definitely so-called. I think the music just came back and it's, oh, there we go. Oh, jeez. I was like, what's happening?
You were in a club for a second.
We were doing what they were doing
at the Love in Action rave.
I think all death is, especially preventable death, is not something to be celebrated, right? I also believe that we should not be bombing anybody. And I also believe that transparency is important. And I believe that a lot of the reason that our governments are able to do the things that they do is because of a lack of transparency. Now, I don't really love that the reporter sat in there for like days just to see what was going to happen. Like, that's...
You have the opinion that he should have recused himself and just excused himself from the conversation? I
don't know that he should have like recused himself, but like, I just am like, ooh, why didn't we know about it until after, like the whistleblowing, the red flag wasn't raised until like after the bombing had happened. And I understand, because again, I don't think that.
I mean, have you ever met you met reporters with me? So you know that they like, there's no story unless the people get bombed, which means, to your point, which I think you're pointing to, Goldberg at the Atlantic is complicit in the war crimes.
Right.
He's not a saint. He's not a saint to me at all.
Right. Like, the whole thing, again, to me seems very staged. It seems very messy, and people died because of it. And then you have this reaction, which is, why aren't we having a discussion about how government people are using their private phones, you know, because presumably
They have sandbox. They have high box
very high.
environments where they can talk. They can go in. They can fly on government money into closed rooms and have those conversations. And then they do have systems that we can't. That it's too classified. We don't even know the names of the systems that they have. But
Right.
those systems that they use have to be monitored as official government record.
Right.
So when JD Vance comes in to the Signal chat and starts talking about how he cannot stand Europe,
Yeah.
which is a diplomatic problem, you know, like it's kind of like a now we know how you really feel about us. It's kind of like walking into a room where people are talking shit about you.
Right.
Also, someone over here on TikTok says Yolanda Tawanda. They call him my wig Tawanda.
Not Tawanda.
I don't think that's the name of this wig. This wig's actually called Precious
Precious.
by the community. That's hilarious.
Precious.
Anyway,
My
I think that a lot of this is the gaslighting that is American politics. They were trying to see if we cared about the camaraderie that is American politics and the American news machine.
yeah.
They've always been able to, like, they're talking about one chat, but no one's talking about the 20 others.
Right.
Or the hundreds of. I'm personally maintain no less than 50 group chats myself.
Right.
So you know that Washington, D.C. is on fire with all of this. They want to see if we care that they're being reckless with millions of people's lives.
Right. Right.
And they will always take it to the edge and then walk it back. We talk about this every week. They take it to the edge and then they walk it back.
They're going to try to take a mile. They're going to try to move it a mile, and then they're going to take an inch or 3. Right. That's the Overton window. There's been a lot of discussion on my Threads page, my Threads algorithm, about the Overton window and how quickly it is shifting because we're allowing it to, essentially.
Overton window.
Yeah.
What is that?
Other smart people explain it better than me. So essentially, it's what we just said. You try to. Let's read the definition. The Overton window is the range of subjects and arguments politically acceptable to the mainstream population at a given time. So, it's essentially a idea to understand how our thoughts and collective thoughts shift over periods of time, right? I'm trying to think of a good example.
Oh, it's giving me one. I'm going to go down to the chart.
You got it?
So yeah, a Overton window is on the far right side is law-abiding citizens can buy machine guns without a background check. Then
Right.
you come into law-abiding citizens can buy assault weapons without a background check. Law-abiding citizens can own assault weapons without having to register them. Then it pulls right to the middle, which is the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
On either side of the status quo, non-database instant background check system. And then the opposite side is banned manufacture of ammo magazines with a capacity of more than 10 rounds. It goes all the way over on the blue side to only police and government officials can legally have guns.
Well, I don't want the police to have guns, or the government officials at the moment.
No, I mean, yeah.
But yeah. So it's essentially what both political quote unquote sides do is, and people in general just try to shift the window to whatever side they believe in, right? So they go so far to one side and then they come back somewhere slightly right of center oftentimes. And this is why you'll hear people say there is no actual progressive left wing of American politics. And that is true because the Overton window has shifted so far to the right that even a centrist like Bernie Sanders to the American public is considered to be a radical left progressive.
But he's
not.
He's left and right.
Right, exactly. Because that Overton window is so
Overton
far.
window over the status quo. If the status quo is sitting in the, for example, in this chart, if the Overton window, we have tools here, yeah, we do have tools. So if the Overton window, gotta find my window. Here we go. If the Overton window shifts over into the red, the status quo can become that any law-abiding citizen can own assault weapons without having to register them. And then on either side of that is the Overton window of political possibility. And Bernie is over in right.
Right, exactly.
Trying to use the AOC chaser to take the edge off of that because she's not compromised by money, but she's compromised by Washington. She's been there long enough to make deals to secure her positioning for the crowds that gather. Everything is organized and strategic, folks. Pay attention.
Right. And Crutches and Spice talks about this a lot. She hasn't been really active, but Crutches and Spice is also a good resource if you want to have more examples of the Overton window in today's world.
Let's talk about Jazzy.
Let's talk about Jasmine. So, listen, Dr. Flo has been like, I remember there was some TikTok video, this was like months ago, and Flo was kind of like, I'm not sure that I trust her. And I really didn't know much about Jasmine until this week. Like she had said some stuff that I was like, yeah, okay, cool. You're like in the Overton window of acceptability of saying bad things about Elon Musk, who in the Overton window is considered to be bad by most people, right? But anyway, apparently in her past, she's been transphobic and homophobic and now ableist. And there are sort of, there's Texans that are like, well, we can't call, like, y'all are just coming, which I think this is partially true, right? Y'all are just calling Jasmine Crockett out because she's a black woman, You didn't care about ableist commentary on Greg Abbott 2 weeks ago, but you care about it now because a black woman said it. I, again, agree with that, but also that doesn't discount that she was ableist. And then there are Texans that are saying, well, that's actually his nickname given to him. First of all, I didn't know that he was disabled. I didn't know he was in a wheelchair until this week. I had no idea that Greg Abbott was disabled.
He was an asshole and not inclusive.
Right.
But yes, he is coincidentally also in a wheelchair.
And so Jasmine Crockett called him Hot Wheels, which is apparently a nickname that he has had for a while, but she is being called out over it. And, I think there's a lot of conversation accurately. Like, I think that one of the things in America that we do very poorly is being able to criticize people without utilizing an ism or without a personal attack, right? Like, it seems very hard for people, or it's very easy for people, like when they're arguing, to all of a sudden start calling you gross or start calling you, a slur, or start like, it's like, why must we reach for this? Like, I saw somebody that was like, we can criticize Elon Musk without bringing autism into it, right? We can criticize.
Is that what's going on there? Because that's not what that he does not read to me as an autistic person. He reads to me as a druggie.
They have said that
has he told y'all this?
Apparently, I've seen many a video on it.
Where he spoke about his own autistic diagnosis. Go, keep talking. I'm gonna dig into this as you
So,
keep going.
I mean, like, but again, like, regardless, I think there is something to be said for the way in which we try to have discussions. And I think there also has to be an understanding in this that there is a layer of racism and misogyny because she is a Black woman. And also, like, when people criticize people, we're not saying throw them away and never hear from them again. Especially when that's not what we're saying. We're saying, hey, we don't have to be ableist, and we can still like what the point is. I see you in the comment section. Okay.
Yeah.
In 2021. Okay.
Asperger's.
So,
yeah, but also with a lot of heavy ketamine and all kinds of usage of substances. Anyway, yeah. I think that calling people names gets you in the news. This is why we have. She loves a camera. She loves the celebrity of leadership. I would not take the celebrity of leadership from her, and I would not take the cameras. I think she's a beautiful Black woman, so she deserves to be in the spotlight. She's an accomplished lawyer. She is extremely powerful in her speech, so I don't want her not doing her assignments. She knows, though, that if she just simply is a lawmaker, she's not going to make a splash. You have to say, in the same way that they're all starting to like curse on camera now. 20, 30 years ago, you would not have seen a politician, go into a room and say,
damn was considered like clutching 10 years ago.
What do you just say? Like it's cold as hell here in Greenland or whatever,
Yeah.
or cold as shit. Cold as shit, I think is the quote, folks. Kamala could not do that because of a respectability politic that they're trying to dismantle as edgy. And it's a double standard. White men in power are saying crazier things than Jasmine Crockett. And y'all just want to cherry pick who gets to be the moral authority moment by moment, day by day. What are these things saying here?
Let me make my screen full screen so I can read it. Okay. So, Abiola, I brought Abiola before. Abiola is a Texan, I think, that says, if you've been making posts outraged over Jasmine Crockett's comments in defense of disabled Texans, I'd like you to know how many posts you plan on making about the advocacy groups across the state that have largely struggled to get visibility nationally. There are people not from here using this as a moment to amplify their own ableism, but that doesn't erase actually listening to the people you're talking about online. Do you even know some of us, or are we just good content for you? And then the next comment is from the leftist lawyer. I'm iffy on this person, but that's okay. Jasmine Crockett's statement about Abbott was ableist. Her statement about Green was homophobic and transphobic. At least some of the criticism of her is also anti-Black racist. Agreed. Lots of things can be true at the same time, and what's really frustrating is that disabled queer Black people exist, and they're the most harmed by all of this. I brought the leftist lawyer quote because I do, like, again, there is definitely misogynoir all over this. The reason that people are up in arms is because Jasmine Crockett is a Black woman. Like, they did not care day before yesterday when some white person called Greg Abbott something, right? They're offended because a Black woman had the audacity to say it, right? And we can acknowledge that the statement was right, and we can acknowledge that the statement was ableist. It is ableist, So,
Governor Hot Wheels is ableist. Is that what we're doing? Is that what we're saying, though? Like, because I could. Portia was going in on this. She did not like my post. She did not like my question. I understand how she plays the online game as well, Portia Noir. I understand how all of this is moving in real time. It's just that the ableism thing is being crammed in with so many other things. The issue that I have is that they're saying that this woman calling this man Governor Hot Wheels is a discredit to all that she's doing to try to save people's social security income.
Right. And I think that's where again, two truths can be true.
Of course, it can be.
Yeah.
It can be true. We're not allowed, though, to call names. We're not. Are we not allowed to call our oppressors names?
I think that
Because
people.
Abbott is an asshole, and Abbott also pushes down on and punches down on disabled people in Texas.
He does. And that's Abiola's argument too. But again, can we argue about his policies without name calling? And I guess I think that statement is not an impossible ask.
It's not an impossible ask. I don't engage it. However,
also that said, there's this conversation going around of the fact that, like I said, that apparently this is a nickname that Abbott has readily accepted. It's been around for a while, and there's this presumption that Jasmine knew that, and so said, she was just using it because he has used it in the past. And there's this real thing online that we saw this with the Kendrick performance too, right? Like that, oh, that's what Kendrick meant. But Kendrick didn't actually say that, right? And the same thing, like, we don't know what Jasmine knew. We don't know if she knew that was his nickname or a nickname given to him. We know that she probably knows how horrible his policies are, right? And how they do affect disabled people in Texas. But we don't actually know what people know because we're not actually having a conversation with them, right? We're having a conversation about them and around them and placing our own interpretation onto what they've said, right?
Has Abbott made a statement?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Is he as offended as everyone else?
I think people are worried he's going to use this moment for like a fundraising moment.
That sounds quite white. What's new?
But I haven't heard.
They use everything for a fundraising moment.
Anything.
I've stood around and watched people raise money, like thousands, hundreds of thousands for chihuahuas. All right, while Tara's working on that, I'm going to work into my threads rants. I'm going to read some threads that are coming through my For You page and just letting y'all know what's going on. People are saying things like the urge to treat threads like your journal, disappointed face. Portia says this is anti-journal propaganda. Someone else says biggest gaslight ever when people mock your intelligence and depth because they are lacking in both. There's a lot of posts of these people lounging in the pool, and then the Bangkok earthquake happened. Lots of devastation in Bangkok. Buildings fell. I watched a bunch of craziness through that on threads. Someone says here, proximity to me requires clean energy. If you're still plugged into chaos, I unplug from you. And this is true, y'all. I'm just going to riff about this real quick, that last one. Proximity to me requires clean energy. If you're still plugged into chaos, I unplug from you. Some of y'all are used to just arguing with people as like a baseline normalcy type of thing. This morning I got set off because a now blocked friend from college of over 20 some years came into my DMs to try to question me about one of my posts, and then proceeded to want to be super argumentative with me about my positioning on the idea that if the God in the sky that you all pray to If he cannot provide out of his abundance for everyone, then I reject that kind of God. And I stand by that statement. Don't try to save my soul today or 3 weeks from now or 30 years from now. If the God you pray to cannot provide for all of his or her children, I reject that God. And he could never quite tell me what he wanted from me. And I was like, now you're wasting my time. It seems like you're on bullshit because you're not coming at me direct. You seem to like to argue with people. And there's a lot of people who get a rise out of being in spiritual, emotional, and sometimes physical warfare with others. Just know that if you are on bullshit or if you are in a chaotic vibration these days, you cannot be in close proximity to me because of all the chaos that's happening in my phone and in the world. The bombs dropping in Gaza again, even though they said they would stop. They started back again, terrorizing and tormenting these brown people. All of the chaos is happening out in the world, and you want to come into my DMs and become a thorn in my day. I'm not going to give you the opportunity to be a thorn in my day anymore. What say you about proximity and chaotic energy, Tara?
I think talk about chaotic energy.
I mean, it was a lot
hello.
happening over there, but like I understand, like, because you don't even want to. She's so like she got so chaotic thinking about having to talk about chaos because you don't do it usually, right?
Yeah, well, and also like I just ouch. Sorry, y'all. I just stabbed myself with my bobby pin. I really the people that come into DMs and even the people that come into comment sections, like the question that I kind of come to quite often is, what is your end goal? Right? Like, and Dr. Flo asks this, like, what do you want? What do you need? How can we help your healing today? Because like a
I
lot
asked
of
you 3 times, Tara. 3 times I said, "What do you want?"
and the fact is that they don't know, right? Like they're offended by something and it's misplaced anger, right? It's misplaced concern. It's coming out as something that is unneeded in a very similar way that when I criticize the performative actions of white folks, like don't post the black squares, don't do the blue bracelets, don't do all that stupid shit, do not program an all white cast on a black opera. That's crazy talking. People really want to come out of the woodwork and they want to take issue. Well, Tara, that's just too radical, Tara, and they want to personally attack the person that said it because they feel like that. Portia talks about this a lot, like why are you attacking the messenger instead of attacking the message? And the reality is people aren't absorbing the message, they're absorbing the fact that the message came from someone that they probably somewhere deep in them have a problem with or have a bias towards, and so they are coming without full thought of what the end goal is or what the resolution is, right? And this also kind of relates to like when people are like, oh, that person harmed me. Okay, girl, how would you like us to resolve that? Like, and
Yeah.
I mean, it report the harm, but then also like we need to have a conversation about what that looks like to resolve this. Like, okay, you disagree? Great. What do you disagree about? What is your end goal? Is your end goal to convince me to change my mind? I'm not changing my mind. Okay, then we have nothing further to discuss on that topic. Right?
She
Like,
got really, really weird and awkward today. I was just kind of like you are a person who comes into my orbit every 7 to 8 months to ask me how I'm doing.
right.
I tell you I'm great. I'm doing the best I can in this fucked up world. And here are the links of the latest things I got going on and some events you can come to. And if you really want to be in relationship with me or be in a warm energy, come into the network. These people don't want to come into the network. They want me to believe in God. That is not important. That is not important to me. Believing in God is not on the top of my list. Staying happy, healthy, and free in my thought and my energy and my emotions, that's top of my list. Believing in God is inconsequential. Like, I don't think about God a lot. God is not following me around the house or around the block. I believe in oxygen and air and water and light and all the earth elementals. I'm cool with that. I was born without religion. Newsflash, I was born without religion. So everything that y'all are holding me to is something that I was taught. My cats and the kitten that I'm raising right now, indoor and outdoor, has no concept of soul salvation. I would never try to save my cat's soul. I've never told you that my cat was sinning. You know, there are things that my cat does that I don't want my cat to do, but my cat's not living in sin. And let me tell you something, just like me, my cat does not care. These are all things that we ascribe meaning to and then make people suffer about it. And I'm just not with it. If you not burning in the flames of hell is something that's important for you to worry about today, keep that shit to yourself. I don't have it. I don't have that issue today. The flames of hell are not an issue. Me picking up more life coaching clients, vocal students, places to do my creative expression clinics and networking events, me attracting people for open mic night, me living in joy and love and freedom today, just for today, that is so important to me. But running away from a guy with a pointy tail with flames for me is a tool of incredible spiritual manipulation. And it's part of why we have so much chaos in the world when there could be hope. I don't like that we choose sinful chaos over a hopeful message.
Yeah, who does it help? Who does it hurt? You know, that who does it benefit? I don't think enough people think through those questions before they comment something or come into someone's DMs.
He didn't think it through
at all.
But an enemy problem. We're going to talk just briefly about justice for Charles McNair. I'm loosely attached to this project because I don't like the way the people who are helping him. I don't like these people. But it does not, and the reason why I don't like them is very clear. I think that they lack a bit of transparency. And I have an issue when people are not who they say they are. As a transparent, visible, hyper-focused person for justice. Anyway, this gentleman's been in jail for 45 years. If you've been tracking our podcast and our reporting for the last year, you would have heard about this by now. I'm not going to get into the details. I'm just going to point you to their Facebook page. I think their most recent goal that they communicated to our team was that they wanted 1,000 followers. I don't know what they want to do with those people, but they want 1,000 followers on Facebook, so they should have that if they want that. But this gentleman was erroneously convicted of a crime that he said he did not do. He was not sentenced fairly, and he's been held up as an example in the North Carolina judicial system for 45 years. And there are many in the community who believes that he does not deserve to be there. There are 40 stories like his in this state, and humans have to be forced to care, unfortunately, in these times about certain people. And so we bring him up every time we can. I was not interested per se in pursuing this man's story, and I did not know anything about him until I started living in this community for better or for worse. And so here we are. And I speak of him every week because he and Kendra and so many other black and brown bodies in this community are just forgotten.
Yep.
What say you about Charles?
I think it's a case. I think that many of us need to recognize that we have power that can be utilized in situations like these. And I think there's a whole lot of, we're going to talk about this a little bit later, learned helplessness that kind of combats a lot of these issues. And, you know, sure, they want 1,000 people on Facebook, but it's going to take a lot more than 1,000 Facebook likes to get this man out of jail. It just is. It like very clearly, it's been over 16,000 days.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think Charles is a case of someone who has fallen through the cracks, which is happening a lot right now. You know, he was effectively disappeared 45 years ago, and forgotten about until 4 or 5 years ago when somebody picked up the case. And I also would say that I hope that we all are building community around us that would inquire about us sooner. You know, that's one of the saddest parts for me. And I, of course, don't know like the whole history, but it seems it just seems very sad and very angry that people weren't able to check on Charles.
And that all of his advocates are dead or
Right.
dying.
Right.
And the only people that care about him are strangers, and the system knows this. And, you know, Governor Stein is sitting on top of this list of 40 individuals in similar situations. And the only question that matters to me, Tara, is why don't you care? This is the same question I have for the Human Relations Committee here in town that sent me back about 6 names of places where I could, you know, potentially find food, or someone in the community could potentially find food, but then they stop short of contact details or anything else. Why don't you care?
Right.
Like I see the performance of information, but I really need to know from humans that are in power and have responsibility to community. Why don't you care? Well, I do care. Well, in what ways do you care? Let's see the ways that you do care. And then why don't you care about this? When I asked First Reformed United Christian Church what their stance was on justice for Charles McNair, they said, we do not have a stance. We do not take a position. Why don't you care? She just sat there and was kind of like, you're not telling me the truth. And if you do not care for everybody, then go on record as being the assholes you are. The thing, and you're winding me up again, but you're not responsible. The issue that I have with justice for Charles McNair, and I always will, and they've got black, brown, and white people on their board trying to get this guy out of jail. They do not care about my black ass. They don't have to care about my black ass. I'm just saying that there's a reason why things don't cook here. The way you are in one area of your life is how you are in all areas of your life. That's why I'm working on my laziness and procrastination as well. It bleeds into everything.
Everything. And it is really I wish people could see how you can take a micro story like this one and it can affect everything else, right? Like you said, if you're a certain way in one area of your life, you're that way in the rest of your life. I just had that discussion with somebody on Thursday in voice lessons. And my child's eating lunch and very happy about it. And so I Yes, it is about Charles, but as you said, it is also about all of the other Black and brown people in the community.
In the
And
whole state.
right, right. And I
And it's
just
weird to me, sorry to interject again, but it's weird to me that the Black and brown people are not rallying around their own. Because if they do it to Charles, then they will come and do it to someone else, or they've done it to someone else, and that's the reason why we're silent. But like at the end of the day, like they cannot, under those particular circumstances, no police report, clear corruption in law and order, both sides of it. All right. And no one wants to take true accountability for even the story. And we have to start taking accountability for these stories. We have to move on, y'all, but it's crazy. It's crazy out here.
so this is, you can just make it full screen. Dr. Flo shared this on Facebook as well. And y'all know I'm trying to bring something that is trans related every single week, because trans lives matter, and leave them alone. Like, just leave them alone. They did nothing to you. And so this was just, I thought it was a beautiful graphic. I thought it was a beautiful message. Black trans lives matter. And I can read this for disability sake for anybody that's also not seeing this. It says, "You're not truly pro-Black if you're transphobic. You aren't you aren't for the people if you exclude us from important conversations about survival and violence against our people. You do not stand for all if you only fight and love those who fit your respectability politics. All Black lives matter. Black trans lives matter. Say their names. None of us are free until we are all free." And I agree.
You know what kind of hater you got to be? You know what kind of asshole and miserable person you got to be to wake up in the morning and try to go after people who are minding their own damn business? Like, every time I turn on the news and that idiot in chief is talking shit about trans people, I'm like, yo, you're not trans. You don't seem to have any trans people around you or in your family or like in your direct access in the White House or what have you that we know about. Like, why are you so consumed with these people's ordinary lives? Why are you so consumed with people's genitals, essentially, and how they express themselves sexually? It's very, very weird to me to be consumed with another person's identity. And this is like the second time we've talked about this today in various ways. Like, why the identity politic causes the warring when you can really mind your fucking business. Now, I know why trans women, especially trans women of color, I know why they die. They die because dudes are into chicks with dicks, and then eventually they get almost exposed, or they cannot deal with their internalized homophobia, and so they harm, often to unalive, trans women to keep their secret of them. You know, these men are fucking in the gyms, in the playgrounds, in the forest, like it's all kinds of DL activity going on. If you've never heard of an app called Sniffies or an app called Blowies or Blowers or whatever, I don't use this shit anymore because I'm married. But there's so much access to DL culture and trans women wanting love. Trans people, shout out to who was a trans man that we profiled recently that was tortured, and Sam Norquist.
Sam Nordquist, yep.
It's kind of like these people are out here living and breathing and trying to make money and trying to just make it through their lives and have an average life expectancy like everyone else. And the fact that you all don't want them to live unbullied, you know. And when I saw him last week at a women's event saying there's no way that you can be born a man and be a woman, and all, I'm like, you were that kid in high school. If we use the idea that high school never ends, he is that person in the back of class talking shit about everybody when everybody else is just trying to learn.
Right. And I'll also just bring here that I've been doing, some of you know that Spill the Beans during the months of basically February through June. I do spotlights on people, and I'm doing Black trans women. And after I read about Frances Thompson a couple weeks ago, I decided, well, I'm going to try to find the earliest instances of Black trans women making history in the United States. And I found 3 more now. And I will say that in almost every single one of the articles that I've read, and I did it on a live the other night, I had to edit because there is so much transphobic language when discussing these people, these women who were living their lives. They were literally just living their lives. There is nothing momentous about it. They were just living their lives, and in these articles that the women are dead named, they are there is language about their genitals that does not need to be discussed. And it's just like, why this article that's written 200 years later has this language in it? And just leave people alone. Just tell their history about what they were doing. Like they were enjoying their lives, okay? Up until y'all ruined it. Y'all straight people ruined it.
I think everybody, not everybody, all assholes like to have someone to punch down on. We talk about this every week in the podcast. And so that's just an easy target because these are people that got picked on for their limitless gender expression in high school. These are people who just wanted to, the dudes who want to wear dresses. Don't send me no male, folks. I know what I'm talking about here. Anybody who stepped outside of what people consider to be normal have been treated this way. Y'all just grew up and got more vicious in your dislike of people. And I could tell that y'all don't have trans people in your lives, because if you knew trans people, you would know that they're just as boring as everybody else.
I hope y'all heal.
Y'all don't know trans. Yeah, I really hope y'all heal, because if you knew trans people the way I do and had them at dinner parties and stuff, trust me, they're going through the same. They're wishing somebody would call them back too and act right. They're wishing that the eggs were cheaper. They're complaining about the same shit you are, but you're trying to like parse apart and pick apart humanity. You stupid motherfucker.
They're trying to keep their dog alive, or their cat alive, or their
or stay employed, or be employed in an environment where people aren't treating them like they're dumb because they're trans.
Right. Leave them alone.
It's so stupid. All right, back to some more Dr. Flo musings from the Threads feed. Happening now, 3 minutes ago, Tara, protesters in NYC have gathered outside a Tesla showroom as part of the nationwide Tesla takedown movement against Elon Musk. I want to read this one more time. And I'm loving, this will stay in. I've actually already deleted next week's slide deck, and we're going to dupe this out because Threads will be here until Threads blows up, because as I'm scrolling throughout the day, all day, because I'm addicted to this as well, I see all kinds of content and things. All kinds of content that makes me go, oh, this is what y'all want. So once again, protesters in New York City have gathered outside a Tesla showroom as part of a nationwide Tesla takedown movement against Elon Musk. My question to all of the people watching, and my question to Tara, is what did the inanimate objects do to y'all? Why do y'all want to attack and take down a Tesla, but not the white man in power? It's never a white man in power takedown. It's always a Tesla takedown.
But didn't you hear that we're really scared of robots? Didn't you know? You didn't know that we're supposed to be more fearful of robots than we are of people? You didn't know that? Nobody told you?
robots are not going into communities and building highways through them. Robots are not keeping water dirty in Flint. Robots are not ignoring me right now and access to the community map that we're trying to build. Robots are not my concern, and the Teslas aren't either. And I think it's so crazy. Poppy Water and I the other night in bed. This is not as kinky as it sounds. There are people who are going around and just putting their asses. We were laying in bed, and I showed him. I was like, "Yo, do you see this shit? They're going around and putting their bare asses on Teslas as a protest. You won't speak up to your stupid white boss. You won't speak up to your stupid white relatives. You won't tell a Trumper where to shove it, but you gonna put your ass on a Tesla in protest."
Or that one that you shared into the chat of the dude on the, wasn't it like a 4-wheeler, and he was like ramming into the Tesla?
Just went to a Tesla lot and just started ramming into Teslas. Like, you will not stay. You will, and Whitey's on the moon. You will not stand up to people in power, like actual people. Like you could literally show up to where Elon is and make his day uncomfortable. Not recommending that, folks. Don't send me any mail. I'm just saying that there's so many ways in which you can shake things up, but doing a Tesla takedown is more white people acting like they're doing something. And I know exactly what corner they're standing on here. I know exactly where this is in the city. I know all of the demonstrative nature of activism. However, after y'all get done painting Teslas, we're still going to be asking for reparations. We're still going to be asking for constructive social justice movement. We want to be restored in our clothing, restored in our food, restored in our ability to earn. Like there's a lot of restoration and reparation work to be done. But burn a Tesla, save democracy is more chaotic bullshit. And it's wild to me. There's a gentleman, I'll send it to you in the group chat. There's a gentleman who's walking around in a little Tesla car that he's made on fire. So he's got like a cardboard box. He's turned into a Tesla and it's on fire. And he has his little shoulder harnesses on. And he's walking around as a burning Tesla. This is not going to do shit for people. This will not save your grandmother, whose medications are too costly.
Particularly when the dude that y'all are hoping to offend is out on the news channels right now saying how horrendous you all are for doing the things that you're doing. Like, I mean, you know, people will do anything, seemingly. Many people, I shouldn't say all people, but people will seemingly do everything but the thing that is actually going to change the direction of the world or the direction of their own path, right? I mean, like I do this. Speaking for myself, like on my own path, like I'm like, I will do anything but create the introductory post for blackening the canon. Anything but. Right?
We'll find people. We'll find programs. We'll find others. We'll send a post.
Right. Anything but. Right?
Take a master class.
Exactly. But we will not. But I won't do that. And I don't know like what it is that you like y'all don't get. And I too. Sometimes I sit there and I'm like, girl, why aren't you doing that? Like why you do that? So like, I mean,
you know why you are not. We all know why we're not doing the things we want to do. In the same way that these Tesla people they know why it's happening there and not in DC. Why there and not on the courthouse steps? Why there and not elsewhere? Because NYPD is still circling them. Because there's not critical mass of people who really want to make a change. People are standing back and waiting to see. Wait and see is like part of the whole
And white people, now is not your time to wait and see. Y'all are going out in the streets on April 5th.
Oh yeah, I will not be,
especially visibly black and brown. Stay home.
I mean, what the Gestapo is seeking to do is to make you afraid to raise your voice in any way.
Right.
You gotta remember, in countries like Dubai, women raising their voices is prison time.
Right.
In Dubai today, if a woman raises her voice to a man in any way, if we were in Dubai and Tara said, "Shut up, bitch," to me, she could be hauled off for years. And this is a kind of fear and paranoia vibration that we try to disrupt every day in Love and Action Network. Every day, we're fuck fear, fuck paranoia.
But y'all, with this Tesla stuff, have you seen what they like? I mean, we keep attacking the Teslas, right? Instead of calling the offices, or instead of marching on Washington, or instead of doing any of the things that could potentially get something done, right? Pretty soon, because Elon Musk is co-president, they're going to start making a law that says you cannot, that essentially the machine, the thing that y'all claim you're so scared of, does actually have, privilege. And so if you hurt that property, has if you damage the property, you will be arrested.
In the same way that they're trying to re-erect more monuments to alleged supremacy. They also there's 94 cop cities going up throughout the country. They're trying to not unionize as much as unify a national police force that's able to intimidate and antagonize the people. And do not think for a second as well, folks, that all of these ICE raids that are being displayed, or these governmental officials that are standing in front of brown people in cages saying, "We will do this to you as well." All of this is propaganda for foolishness. And you gotta recognize how they are trying to program you. Are you being programmed right now into being weak and docile and easily manipulated, or are you unplugging from that particular matrix and saying, like, I'm going to be a problem to whomever wants to be a problem to me?
Right.
We're big on that around here. If you seek
and
to be
not,
a problem of mine, I'm going to be a problem of yours. Love to love.
You're not a problem until you come for my peace. You're not a problem until you come. You know what I mean? Like, you are not a problem existing. You are a problem when you come for my peace. You are a problem. And I will treat you as such.
And the piece of other people minding their black ass business. Also sent this into the Deconstruction chat. My last threads rant. There's an egg frying machine.
I see that. First of all, who has money for all those eggs? I want to talk to you. What country you live in?
$1,000 worth of eggs right there.
Literally. Like, that is so many eggs. But also, I kind of want it, even though I don't like eggs. But, like, I want the machine.
This machine is taking in whole eggs at the top, cracking them in machine, frying them in machine, and just spitting out the fried egg. Like, egg goes in top, and then it just spits out fried eggs on the bottom. Lots of cholesterol, but in some buffet somewhere where people are coming and getting their... Do you consider fried eggs to be part of a continental breakfast, or is that taking it too far?
I don't like eggs, so I don't have them very often. So there's that. That's my answer on eggs. Okay. So I brought this because there have been too many instances. So this is ICE isn't detaining people. They're Piper. ICE isn't detaining people. They're kidnapping people. Understand the difference. And I think this is a case of, like, one of those things that we can be very clear about our language. So I've heard of at least, I I think like 5 or 6 cases of people being disappeared by ICE, being kidnapped by ICE. And also we have to talk about the prison that some of them have been sent to in El Salvador. And I believe it's 3 or 4 have died in prison. So not only are they kidnapping, but they are murdering. And we have to talk about it. And Flo saw it this morning, like there was a late last night, and I was up late last night because I had some chai at like 4 in the afternoon, and bad idea. Don't do it, folks, when you get old. Okay, don't do it. Anyway, I saw it come up from the Minnesota governor that a international student at the U of M in the Twin Cities has been taken by ICE, and it is now 12:05. And I do not believe we have any more information. We have no name. We have no number to call. We have nothing. Like, what are you all doing? Right? Like, I don't know. So, but I also saw a thread right before we got on here that said that ICE has asked people to stop calling the office because so many people have reported Elon Musk, a South African immigrant. So, keep calling, but also let's not mince words. ICE isn't detaining people. They're kidnapping people. They are literally disappearing people.
Someone is paying them to terrorize communities.
Right.
And the people who are paying them to terrorize communities are the people who need to be called into question. See, I'm very clear about who my opposition is. I'm very clear about it. I think you're back up again here.
Yes. I was checking to see. Okay. So this was a post I liked it so that I could find it again. I don't agree with it. But anyway, it says, I'm so sick of learned helplessness. My students cannot, in all caps. This is when you can tell what type of person this is. Anyway, cannot initiate tasks with to save their lives. Genuinely, what happened to trying and using resources? And Dr. Flo found in the thread this answer, which says, I teach band. There's a chart in the back of every student's book that tells them which button to push for every note. Every day, someone asks how to play. And when I say, look at the chart, I get, it's not there every day. Yes, it is. They can't match. And someone responds to that and says, I teach band in my schools in the poorest neighborhood in town, also where I grew up. We struggle with learned helplessness a lot. Ultimately, you have to walk them through it step by step multiple times before they can be confident. My kids are finally starting to be proactive after months of not because I celebrate every single thing. The only way to fight learned helplessness is to prove to them they are not helpless. It's not their fault. And there are several other comments. Obviously, this thread got, you can see there's 404 responses. And I think about this in terms of like the way in which some people approach the internet by and this is true, right? There's a lot of people in the country that can only read at a 3rd, 4th, 5th grade level. There's a lot of people that don't really.
60% of Americans read at a 3rd grade level or under.
Right. And there are a lot of people that we've come across them in our years on the internet who really genuinely don't know how to use the internet. Right? Like they do not know
crazy
how to type in a prompt in Google and get the response that they're looking for. They do not know how to trust or how to determine what sources to trust, etc. And I like that last answer of celebrating every single thing to combat the helplessness. But I would also say that and I liked that it said that it's not their fault, because I think one of the things that a lot of people, when discussing this topic, fail to recognize is that the reason that the kids have learned helplessness is because the adults have learned helplessness, like we were talking about earlier, right? And it's millennials raising Gen Alpha, it's Gen Xers raising Gen Z. And so there is a lot of learned helplessness because of the reliance on outside sources to give them the answer. You know, like I remember the days in school when they took the calculators from us and made us do the math. I don't know if you remember that. I remember that. I done had to learn, you know. And the first thread is like, ooh, like why are we blaming so much of that? And like, can we have a productive conversation about, because there's a lot of, it seems to me that first thread is very much about placing blame. And instead, I would love to have the conversation of like, how can we, instead of placing blame, can we have a conversation about how to assist, right? How can we help? How can we change it? How can we make it better? How can we empower, encourage, and equip these students and children in general, rather than being angry with them for not knowing whatever it is that this teacher has determined that they don't know.
Many people in that comment section also maintained, and I'm with them, that if you are not a person who can be patient with children and point them back to the D and the E and the E flat fingering over and over again until they get it, if you cannot take the time to say that's read, meaning to read a book, but that's read meaning the grassy stem that comes out the ground. If you're not patient enough to teach a child the difference between REED and READ, you're in the wrong space. If you want to villainize or call kids lazy for not having the skills that you are there to teach them, you may not be in the right healing profession. It may be time for you to go and move on to something different. But what I didn't like about any of this was the blaming of the children. You are a teacher, which means that you're supposed to teach better. As a coach and as a teacher online, when someone says to me, I don't understand what you're saying, it's not my opportunity to say, that's not an opportunity for me to go, well, what's wrong with you?
Right.
I have to.
Or why didn't you learn that? Or how come you don't know it yet? Right.
I have to choose a different way to get through to that particular child. And I think that people are overwhelmed. Once again, these devices are going bring, 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 bring all day. So by the time the teacher gets to a kid going, well, how do I play a D? They just.
Well, and I think about it, you know, like I have a different view now that I have an 11-month-old who's trying to learn to walk. Every single day, I have to stand the kid up, let them try and stand, fall on their bottom, and then be like, yay, and then do it again, you know, like, and I have to ask my piano students, where's middle C? Where's middle C? Where's middle C?
Where's middle C?
Where's middle C? Where is middle C? Come on, you know where middle C is, right? Can you find middle C today? Where's middle C? Where is middle C?
I know where it is.
Right?
But I would never call a child lazy for not knowing where it is. You know, now there is something to be said. If a kid is not going in the back of the book to look at the fingering charts, as we call them, because I'm a woodwind classically trained person myself. If a kid's not going into the fingering charts and they're not enthusiastic about learning the instrument, that sounds like a whole different conversation. Why are kids in these classes or in these environments not learning in ways that are conducive to how they want to internalize information? If anything, and I'm not in education full time, I just do it, I moonlight in it. If anything, we should be giving kids the tools to access information. Gone are the days where we're going to have to remember things from our head. The fact that you all try to educate people still about making them regurgitate information is bullshit. We have the complete encyclopedia of knowledge, fact checks, AI technologies. We have all of this in our pockets now. So to expect high schoolers and college students to regurgitate these
Right.
facts.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not
why
sure
is
it's
education
important.
not shifting along with the modern technology? You know, like I think this is the thing. Like people really, education in general is very stuck in. I'll take it down to like a
Compliance.
yeah. They're very stuck in like, oh, we should only be reading from paper books. When the reality is, like you just said, a book on a Kindle is much cheaper than paying $100 for a college textbook, right? And like the whole notion, a lot of this has to do with the same things that I'm combating when blackening the canon, which is accessibility and finances. And education likes to uphold the gatekeeping, that point blank period. And we can have a conversation about why teachers are unable to shift, because that's one of the things I pride myself on in the private studio. And one of the biggest reasons that I didn't go into public schooling was because I knew that I wanted to be flexible in the ways that I taught. Some students learn from a book. They really do. I have students that they are so excited. They work beyond where we went the last week and they love the books. And then I have students who are like, yo, this is not the way I learn. I am not motivated by this. Can we do something else? Yes, kiddo, we can totally learn chords and we can learn notes on the staff from that. Like, we don't have to learn it in XYZ way because you are an individual. And that is where, like, the education system and the education industrial complex does not really allow for that. And it wasn't designed for that. And that's the way a lot of our institutions are these days, y'all. It's a lot of institutions that were designed for 100, 200, 150 years ago that don't work anymore.
I got a story that came out as I can't get into it right now, but People Magazine's reporting yesterday 4 current and former sheriff deputies from Texas office died by suicide in 6 weeks.
Whoa. I didn't hear that story. Whoa.
Exactly. All right. I sent that over as well. Let's keep moving through this week's episode, y'all. We have
We're
Dr.
Martin. Dr. Martin. We love Dr. Martin.
Just a reminder that trauma seeks validation, not healing. Trauma seeks and looks for confirmation, not transformation. So the reason why all those individuals with those trash takes have thousands of likes and followers and comments of agreement is because individuals are gravitating towards the unhealed place of that individual, the inaccuracies of what they're saying. And I've seen some of the most harmful messages online come from licensed mental health professionals. So I'm not even talking about just unlicensed mental health professionals. They, of course, we get some level of trust because of our expertise, but we can be wrong as well. Trauma is going to seek connection, not correction. And us being licensed does not protect us from, 1, lack of knowledge in different realms, or 2, having our own wounds and that coming out of our messages. So please, look at the person. Just a reminder that trauma seeks validation.
This is bars.
You want to play it one more time? It's short enough. I feel like we can at least play the beginning one more time. It's bars. Bars and
Just a reminder that trauma seeks validation, not healing. Trauma seeks and looks for confirmation, not transformation. So the reason why all those individuals with those trash takes have thousands of likes and followers and comments of agreement is because individuals are gravitating towards the unhealed place of that individual, the inaccuracies of what they're saying. And I've seen some of the most harmful messages online come from licensed mental health professionals. So I'm not even talking about just unlicensed mental health professionals. They, of course, we get some level of trust because of our expertise, but we can be wrong as well. Trauma is going to seek connection, not correction. And us being licensed does not protect us from, one, lack of knowledge in different realms, or two, having our own wounds and that coming out of our messages. So please look at the person. Just a reminder.
Look at the person.
Look at the person. I really liked this, and we love Dr. Martin here. But I think that one of the reasons it came across my feed is because Dr. Flo has been talking about, these really on threads, like some really horrible takes, that have, like Dr. Martin said, thousands upon thousands of likes and comments, and I believe, da 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 da, and it is like unhealed people are attracted to unhealed people. And there's a lot of unhealed people in the world because we don't want healed people. The world at large doesn't want healed people because, God forbid, we rearrange the world and not have white, rich, cishet humans at the top, right? And I just really think that this is a case of, I think bars. No crumbs. Love Dr. Martin. No crumbs.
You really have to consider the source. Everyone has their reasons for expressing what they express, and you have to know those reasons for yourself. And know and trust who you want to, really important. We are calling for ceasefire. Leave trans people alone. Leave black and brown people alone. Leave Greenland alone. Stop inserting yourself into other people's situations. We will not know for a long time the full implications of the reason why these bombs are steady dropping. But it is highly offensive to my humanitarian heart. Highly.
Agreed.
I'm seeking to lift the Love Revival and Love in Action Academy. We are now receiving applications for that. Jump in if you'd like. Are there any additional topics, Tara, that you want to, as I just keep going through, are there any additional topics that you want to navigate today?
We're done here. It has been a long episode. No, I don't have any additional topics. No additional topics. I think we covered a lot today.
Do you think that there is a happy ending for us in all of this somehow? People fearmonger around World War III and all sorts of awful things happening. Do you think we're going to look back on this and not feel that we overreacted, because in a lot of ways we are underreacting?
A lot of ways.
But do you think that it will truly be okay in the end?
Do not do that. I think that history repeats itself until we make massive change. And I think in every instance of horrendous things that have happened, right, there is a period of peace and solitude and happiness and joy and the rebounding, right? An equal and opposite reaction. And so I believe that, maybe not in our lifetimes, hopefully in our lifetimes, but maybe not, right? That there will be, because there will be a happy ending. There will be a place of Upendi, as they say in Lion King too. In Upendi, boom, boom, in Upendi. And I think that, we talked about hope. I feel like, I don't know where that was, but we were talking about hope, and we have to have it. We have to have the hope that something changes in the end. The reason that we're fighting for change is so that there can be happiness, whether that is for us now or one of the 10 generations that come after us. Yeah. Adopt a Black artist. There goes my child. Adopt a Black artist. We just featured Lena Pastel on our yesterday's edition of this. And we do have several people in pipeline. Dr. Flo was just mentioning that earlier. If you are interested in becoming one of the Black artists that we promote, as well as hopefully bring you in on the podcast or provide some other sort of help to you, please nominate yourself at the link in bio, lovedandlovable.bio.link. Or if you're a person out there that's like, I know this really great Black artist and I want them to have more visibility and I want to assist them, please let us know by also filling out that same link. And if you are a person out there that is like, well, I don't know how I can help because I don't know any Black artists and da 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 da, which is just not true. You do. You just are being weird. Then you can share any of the previous Black artist posts. They are available on all of our social media at Tara Prilo Studio, at Love and Action Network, and at Andre and the Flow. I also have a goal to get a pool of money going. So my student, this student's family is covered right now, but I want to not have to do all of the, you want to stay ready so you don't got to get ready. Dr. Flo says that all the time. I want to do that with this pool of money. So I am still collecting. My goal is $200 a month in a year. That is, $2,400 that could be sitting there to sponsor a student. If they're taking half-hour lessons, that would be about a year of lessons, which would be awesome. So you can DM me for that.
I'm now hiring folks who want to be part of something bigger than themselves. We're uniting the talents of diverse artists all over the planet to do online cabarets and also in-person shows that lift hope and love and a joyful expression. Celebrating the power of love through music, theater, and art. Please audition on the website. And also, if you're looking forward to releasing your voice fully in the world and coming out in the ways that Tara and I do, and lifting your voice into the ether, I do free masterclasses by and large daily. And if you'd like to be in the room and get group coaching and one-to-one coaching from me as available, you can go to lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.link. Mabel, we made it.
We made it, Mitch.
You know what I'm grateful for? I'm grateful for being free. I'm grateful for being so liberated that I can push record or go live on these machines and speak up right now in the world. Whatever people are doing right now in the world is what they were doing during Nazi Germany. Whatever they're doing right now, our friends and family included, whatever they're doing, and they could be doing things that are so important to them. I'm so busy. I'm so tired. Dr. Flo, I'm so tired. I'm so busy. Dr. Flo, I'm so tired. I'm so busy. Whatever you're doing, I'm sure during Nazi Germany and during the civil rights movement, there were people that were so tired. And so, I just washed all of those white people's clothes over at my house, girl. I cannot stand up for civil rights. I spent all day cleaning toilets at the white people's hotel. I cannot stand up for civil rights, right? So there's always going to be something, but whatever you're doing right now is what you would have been doing in those historical contexts. And I'm so grateful that today we are speaking up, that we are saying the things that we have in our hearts to say, and that we're committed to those guiding principles of being happy, healthy, and free. I've talked earlier in the week that there's so many people on TikTok that's soon dying, and all of these platforms, that the people who are speaking up in online audiences, the people who are going live in the first place, these are the courageous people of our times. People who are kind of sitting back and watching, doesn't really take a lot of courage for that. So in my closing thought today, I want to thank you all for your boldness to hear our message, Thank you, Tara, for your boldness to help us express ourselves and to say these uncomfortable truths as we heal in community. And I'm grateful for everyone who is trying to, have a great day. What are your closing thoughts, Tara?
My closing thought, I think I said this a couple of weeks ago too, but you can always change your mind. And something that Dr. Flo was talking about is, he's grateful to be able to come live. And I'm grateful to be able to come live every week. And if my mind changes, then my mind changes. And I get to tell you all that. It's just never too late. And also, people don't remember everything that you think they remember. So don't be scared to change your mind. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next Saturday. We're moving the time again, y'all. It's going to be on Saturdays just to clear schedules. So we will be live on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern time, which was the time of the Clubhouse room. So y'all should be free, okay? And we enjoy you in the audience. And if you're not free, it's okay. You can watch us later, okay? And we're going to see you at 3 p.m. today over on Clubhouse. Those rooms happen 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. daily on Clubhouse with Dr. Flo. Those are Dr. Flo chats. We have watch parties. We have open mic nights coming up. We have lots of things. View all the calendar and all that jazz. Get your tickets at lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.link. And from all of us here at Love and Action Network, at Andre and the Flow, at Puppywater33, at Tara Priolo Studio, and all the rest of the fun brunch from TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Clubhouse, and beyond. Continue to be anti-racist, be safe, wear a mask, make good trouble, do good work. I love y'all hardcore. You are loved and lovable, and nobody can change that. Joy is the revolution. Step into it and belong to it, and we'll see